So we are out here once again at Foothills Park, Palo Alto, California, my favorite local park. We're going to do the southern loop of the Los Trancos Trail here right now on this main fire road, and I'm going to come in here towards camp, and I'm going to do the left leg or the eastern leg of the Fern Loop Trail, make my way across here to the Costanoan Trail, or Costanoan Trail, I think it's Costanoan Trail, and hit the Los Trancos Trail, which is the southern little footpath down this way and towards the southern tip of the park. So we're at the end of the fire road here. So first goal is to reach the Costanoan Trail, and you guys have seen this before, but Costanoan Trail, that's where I'm going. So I'm on the iPhone today. I had the unfortunate incident of destroying my Sony Xperia Z3. Great phone that was. It's actually a little bit big and bulky, very heavy. It takes better picture quality, way better picture quality I should say. And we're going to branch off here onto the Costanoan Trail, and we want to merge into the Los Trancos Trail, 0.9 miles. Sun's a lot lower than I'm used to. I'm getting such a late start today. It's about 4:30. Yeah, 4:30 right now, so I have to keep an eye out for time. And realistically, this will end up being an out and back, like most of my videos, being that it's about a 8.5 to 9 mile loop, and the park rangers close the gates at around 9 o'clock, so some switchbacks here, some steady climbing here. So this will all be downhill when I come back, if I do a out and back. So one thing I have to watch out for out here is bees. So last time I was out here on this trail, got attacked and mauled by a swarm of pissed off bees. Let me tell you, that was not fun. How do you tell if you're nearing a swarm of bees? A bee's nest or beehive? Do you just listen for them? Are there signs? Just what is it? Because if I'm nearing a swarm of pissed off bees, I want to shut up and book it on through as quickly as I can. So the other thing here too, as gross as this may sound, I didn't shower this morning, so I don't have any soapy, fragrant smells on me other than my natural sweat. So as gross as that sounds, that's kind of how it goes out here. So I'm getting such a late start. I would very much expect the trails to be pretty empty this late in the day. I have my headlamp with me, a flashlight, and some backup batteries, so I don't want to be out here after dark, but if I am, I'll make it okay. The other thing I'm trying to do is really push my body for as long as I can, for as hard as I can. Trying to keep up my pace a little bit better than I have been in my prior videos, just because I want to build up my strength and conditioning while I'm out here. So my pack today is a 25-liter Coleman day pack, hydration compatible. One of these days I'll do a video on that. This thing has served me damn well for the past 3 years. Held up remarkably well, and it's not really that heavy. thinner fabrics, thinner straps and strap webbing make it just an easier payload. Although granted, I'm taking a step down in capability and durability. That's a sacrifice I gladly make for the weight reduction. So I've got a full 3-liter Camelback hydration bladder with me, and I'm ready to rock. Got some bananas, some granola bars, some fruit and nut bars too. Very well stocked for a light dinner out here on the trail. Oh, I also have a little piece of Hickory Farm summer sausage, so that'll come in handy too. So we're climbing now. All this climbing, this has been a straight uphill. I said in my other video, the filming doesn't do the elevation justice, so one way you can tell how much we are climbing, how steep the incline is by how out of breath I am. So I remember this part. Plankton and I made it to this point once before. I don't have it on film, but we started getting rained on late winter here, and we made it kind of to this point. We kept going. Plankton's a trekker. At first she was kind of worried about the weather and the gray clouds and all that stuff. I explained to her, hey, we had her raincoat, her rain gear, she had her boots on. What is rain anyway? Rain is just water, right? Yeah, no biggie. Just a beautiful, beautiful place. Dense, dense oak forest everywhere around us. So we'll keep going. So here's our first real kind of crest view, looking out across the San Francisco Bay Area. That's not actually San Francisco you're seeing, but kind of South Bay Area. Palo Alto is right down there. Very cool. So we'll keep going. A lot of switchbacks, uphill climbing, a lot of uphill climbing, switchbacks. I'll show you the map, the topo map here in a second. But crossing a lot of perpendicular lines indicating either one of two things. We're ascending or descending, and so far it's been a pretty steady ascent up, hence those views. So I would imagine here at some point we're going to start dropping down and heading into the Los Trancos Creek area. Water always flows down, so if you see a creek or a river on your map, you know that's at a basin, and you're going to either do one of two things: hike down into it or hike up out of it. Another switchback, more climbing. The legs feel great. Usually have to stop and take more rests at this point, but no, not today. I feel really good. Working my quads and my upper hamstrings. The calves feel pretty good, so no worries about calf cramping. Not yet. Good hydration is a must. So however you prefer to hydrate, be it water bottles, hydration bladders, just do it often and do it regularly. Even though you're not thirsty, take a swig every now and then. Keep your body hydrated. Howdy, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
You're all downhill from here, buddy.
Yep.
And you know the most important thing when you guys are out here? What do you think it is? There's a lot of important things out here, but the one often overlooked factor out here is you. Look in the mirror. Know your body. Know the conditioning you're in. How do your legs feel? How are your lungs? What's your energy level like? Okay? You're going to want to track that throughout your hikes and throughout your treks. Know yourself. And also understand that you're always changing. My physical conditioning level is pretty horrid at the beginning of a spring and summer season. Towards the end, I'm in much, much better shape. I can carry more load, I can carry more stuff, more gear. I can hike longer and faster. So keep that in mind. Being out here on the trails is as much a lesson about yourselves as much as anything else. So that's the Movo TX philosophy lesson of the day, and I might present some more as we go on here. But oh, this is really cool. I just love this. These dense oak and dense canopies. I love this. This is awesome. So I was showing you those hills across the bay. What did I say? Mission Peak and Fremont and Newark and that area. There's trails all around the San Francisco Bay Area. And depending on where you're at, the geography of these trails can be totally, totally different. So here on the peninsula side of the bay, this is what we see. Whew, this is what we see. Dense oak forest, overgrowth, fern cover, very typical. On the other side of the bay, much drier, still some patches of oak forest, but a lot more open fire roads versus trails like this that are kind of technical, single track, whatever. And here we are again with just some amazing plant life. Somebody out there in YouTube land, tell me what species of tree this is. It's got a really vibrant orange color with a brick red bark on it. Really cool. Really cool. So we'll keep going. Another switchback. Switchback after switchback. On a mountain bike, these are murder. I'm telling you. Here is an old goat on hooves, whatever. By foot, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm still climbing. Slightly now. All right, we made it. Looks like a junction coming up here. Very cool. Made it this far, so we just did 0.9 miles from Fern Loop Trail. That was all uphill coming up this way, so that is going to be fun coming back. What I want to do is head up this way and take the Los Trancos Trail this direction and explore this way. So I've been sipping my Gatorade regularly, staying hydrated, and feel really good right now. So there is South Bay area. Downtown San Jose is over here, and Palo Alto is kind of right over this way over here. Awesome. I wonder if I can see Mount Diablo from here. I don't think so. It's too far to the left, too far north. Okay, this is kind of cool. Somebody made, or carved out, a little bench out of the dirt. So you can just kick back and soak up that view. Same view, but a little bit higher up this time. And once again, home sweet home for me. You can actually see the Dunbarton Bridge. Right, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the Dunbarton Bridge is right over there. Very cool. All right, we'll continue. So we're coming up now on Los Trancos Bridge number 5. Okay, let's try and do this one-handed here. So I showed you that little leg of the Fern Loop Trail we did. We branched off onto the Costanoan Trail and did all this uphill switchback. So I was telling you earlier on the topo map, the lines of perpendicularity that we cross, those indicate either one of two things, an incline or decline, and coming up this way it was an incline the whole way. And right now we are at Los Trancos Trail Bridge number 5. So let's go. But one thing I want to show you guys is you can tell kind of where you are just by the foliage growing on the ground. So a lot of fern cover everywhere, and it's been up and down these trails. And looks like we're coming up and out of the oak forest canopy a bit here, and right away we see some changes in plant life. Much drier up here, just a little bit here. So all it takes is a little bit of exposure on a crest or a ridge, and all the natural environment changes pretty suddenly. Now, of course, we'll never be totally out of the oak forest, but generally speaking. And as you can tell, I'm not out of breath either. I'm able to talk fairly effectively. So I think the uphill climbing is pretty much past us now. So have you guys had a chance to think about my bee question I posed earlier? If you're nearing an active swarm of bees, I would imagine by the time you can hear them, it's too late. And you may have spooked them already. So is there any way to tell before it's too late? So we're coming up on another bridge here. Bridge 7, I think. Yes, sir. This is Bridge 7, I think. Bridge 7, I presume. All right. And we're still climbing a little bit, but not like before. That sun, when it hits my back and back of my neck, so invigorating. Awesome. Whew! Another view, San Francisco Bay Area. Oakland Alameda is that way. And man, Dunbarton Bridge is right there. Very cool. We shall continue onward and upward. More switchbacks. Man. So as I was saying before, we are very much at the crest here of a ridge. And I want to give you guys kind of a perspective of where we are in this great country of ours. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but right there is the Stanford University little tower, or whatever they call it, clock tower, or whatever they call that. Sorry, Stanford alum, if I'm wording that wrong. Please correct me and be nice. That right there is the Dunbarton Bridge. And that is Mount Diablo off in the distance. And we can kind of scale across this way some more. And that bridge, I don't know if you can see it, that bridge right there, I can't tell if I'm pointing at it, I've got a glare on my screen, but that bridge right there is the San Mateo Bridge. And San Francisco is a bit up that way still. Awesome. Home sweet home. Look what's waiting for me. Oh, at the crest of my hometown park. To my lovely wife, Kay. 50 years together from loving David. That is brand new. So Kay, you're well loved by us all, and David and the both of you, thank you very much for letting me sit and rest here. And you know what? I'm gonna munch on some granola bars while I'm up here. May as well. What the hell? Got plenty of daylight left. So the other thing I want to do is reapply some insect repellent, because these flies are really bugging me, and ticks and stuff like that, and fleas are a real pain. So can't stand using this stuff, but it's kind of a necessity out here. So bye bye David and Kay. Thank you for the rest. I feel good. My body's in great shape right now, so I'm gonna continue back down this way. So I got my work cut out for me when I come back up this way. If this is the way I choose to come back, it probably will be. But right now I feel great. I'm pumped, energy level still high. I'm not the least bit tired or fatigued. So I'm still kind of right along the crest here. This ridge and this crest area here, it's still pretty high up, I guess, relatively speaking. So about 1,700 feet, 1,800 feet right now. So we're coming up on another fire road. This is Pony Tracks Fire Road. And they say fire danger is moderate today. I don't know, this stuff looks pretty darn flammable to me. But I guess temperature-wise it's not that hot. So, and it's not that windy, so maybe that has a lot to do with it. And we're heading back in and out of forest canopy. Really pretty up here. Pretty level ground, maybe slightly downhill at this point. So, oh yeah, definitely downhill now. So I'm gonna have a steep climb coming back out of here when I come back. But that's all right. It's all part of the challenge. Come across a couple people coming up this way. They're pretty damn tired. And these guys are trail runners. So they're in pretty good shape too, I would imagine. I'm bouncing a lot too as I go downhill. You can also tell that aspect of my filming, because it's just so hard to hold the camera steady when I'm going downhill. Okay, so we're definitely back down now into the other side of that ridge and that crest, and we're back into the deep oak forest. That's actually a live creek down there. There's actually some water flowing. Some of you guys have seen in my other videos how I comment about how dry and parched everything is here in California because of the drought seasons, but there's actually still some running water down there. Kind of cool. Ran into 3 fellas coming up. They weren't the least bit tired, so that's a good thing for me when I come back up this way. Unless they're in really good shape, which they look like they were, so. Trying to hold my camera steady. I apologize. Anybody know a good Steadicam app for the iPhone? Or Android for that matter? Post a comment on that below. I could definitely use that. Although I will say this. My iPhone is considerably lighter than the Sony Xperia I had, so it is easier on my arm. No doubt, just holding on to the camera while I'm hiking. So we just crossed Los Trancos Bridge number 9, and here's number 10 coming up this way. The sun's getting pretty low. I got to worry about my time now too. The rangers are going to lock up the gate in the parking lot at 9 o'clock, so got to make sure. That's the other thing I'm doing off camera, is I'm kind of spot checking my time, gauging my distance, my time, and my own body strength as well, because it's all going to depend on how fast I can book it on out of here. So this one's dry. Don't see any water in this one, but here's Bridge 10. And we'll keep going. I'm still headed down. This is definitely a downhill descent. So the other thing I'm trying to do here, that's why I'm bouncing around so much, is I'm really trying to book it and cover some ground here on this descent, so I can get farther in my hike before I have to turn back. And definitely hearing signs of water now. That's cool. That was one of the areas of interest along my hike. So I'm definitely on the far west side of the park now, southwest side of the park now. In fact, let me pull out my map up here in a minute and show you guys where I'm at. Okay, we made it down to the water. Very cool. Nice to see free flowing water. Those of you guys who are not in drought parched areas, drought parched places, you don't know how precious of a resource that is. Very cool. So you know what? Given my time constraints, I want to give myself ample time to take my leisurely time back and reach the parking lot by 9 o'clock to get out of here. We're going to do a U-turn here, and we'll save that for another adventure. So let me just point out to you guys where we are on the map here. So we are definitely right down here at the bottom southern corner of the park, and we just crossed right adjacent to the Los Trancos Creek, right along in this area here. So at any rate, we just passed Bridge 9 a little while back, and What I need to do now is traverse all the way back up. Elevation 1,750 feet. That's where that bench was, where I had my snack earlier. And we're going to make it all the way back to the Costanoan Trail, back into camp. So I got a steady uphill climb here. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of filming, or if I do film, I'm not going to be talking that much. So at any rate, let's go. So I made it back up that climb out of that creek gorge area. These slow rolling uphill climbs, they're not so bad. I can pretty much handle these at a pretty fast pace. But as you can tell, I'm fairly out of breath right now, even though it's a gentle... Oh, check that out. Big old mushroom of some sort. Anybody out there in YouTube land, can you ID that? It's growing off a, it looks like an oak stump, an old rotting out stump. That's really cool. I missed that coming up. See, I like doing out and back hikes just because I see things the second time. I missed things the first time out, and like these guys. Check that out. Okay, I totally missed that on the way up here. Very cool. Anybody out there in YouTube land can ID that? Post it down below in the comments section for me. Alright. So my steep climb out of that creek gorge is now done. I'm pretty much at about 1,750, 1,700 feet, and I'm just kind of leveling off up here. Here you go, here's some more up here actually, that are out in the sun. Ah, these flies are killing me. Very cool. And we made it back up to that crest at 1,750 feet. And we'll head off. We'll continue. Keep going. At this point, I feel great. I think you saw, maybe some of you saw towards the tail half of one of my other videos, my legs started cramping up and my calves started cramping. So, it's going to happen. The more you push your body, I mean, it's all about your SAWCs. How do you know what your body's capable of until you really push it to that brink? So, chow down on those 2 bananas. The sugar and the potassium load, no doubt, is helping me here. It's kind of a bad place to show it. This is a downhill section, but when you climb uphill, what you want to do is you don't want to be using your calves, you don't want to be using your quads when you're climbing a hill. You want to basically be using your butt muscle and your upper hamstring to straighten out those legs, and you basically want to stomp around like a Clydesdale climbing up. You don't want to be using those calves, and you try not to use your quads, and that'll get you through your climb or wherever you're going. Now at some point, if the ascent is so steep you have no choice to burn out your quads, then obviously go for it, but try not to. So this is going to go really fast, and this is from here it's all the way down towards the parking area. So this is going to go really quick. I'm really going to book it through this place. So one thing you want to do when you're going downhill, I've mentioned it before in my other videos, is gently roll your heels from heel to toe to heel to toe. You don't want to be stomping too much. You'll pound out your feet and grind out your toes if you do that. You develop blisters. Now I'm wearing double socks too. So wool socks, and I've actually got a cotton ankle sock underneath there, so I'm doubling up my socks. That for me is a must-have as well, because I just need that extra cushioning. Not so much under my feet. My boots are really well padded, and I've got great arch supports in these boots, but my toes, my toenail areas, I want to make sure those are really well padded as I go down these descents. So I prefer full ankle boots. That's just my preference. It's just so much easier on my feet. I find it's easier on my feet when I go down. It's a bitch climbing. It really is. I mean, when you're climbing, it's extra weight, it's extra rigidity, extra limited range of motion on my ankles. But when I go down, I find it supports my ankle better, keeps my heel planted a little bit more so inside the boot. So it's a little bit easier on my toes when I'm descending. So I'd love to hear you guys' views on that as well. Post comments in that regard, what your preferences are down below, if you have any yet. So here's some more amazing wildlife that I totally blew by and missed on the way up. Very cool. No clue what that is. Have to Google it when I get back. Keep going. Alright, so we made it back to our main junction. That was the Los Trancos Trail. So that way was the southern portion of it, and that way is the northern portion of it that you kind of saw in my other video as well. So we'll go this way, back at the Costanoan Trail, Fern Loop. Fern Loop Trail is 0.9 miles. So I just pulled over to take a pee off camera. And, well, not only did I have to pee, but the other thing that does is your urine stream. You can use that as a gauge as to how well hydrated you are. So I mentioned earlier, I pack a full 3 liters of water in my Camelback bladder, and I slowly sip it throughout my hikes, and I consume almost all of it. I sweat profusely, and I constantly need to stay hydrated if I want to make it back in one piece. But your urine stream can use as a gauge as to how well hydrated you are. So when you pee, if you're peeing out a bright orange or bright yellow urine stream, you're not getting enough fluids. You need to start consuming more fluids at that point, if you have any in reserve, which you always should. So your urine stream should be a pale yellow, as clear as possible. So, as ridiculous as that sounds, that's just how our bodies work. So I thought I'd throw that out there. As disgusting as that sounds, it's kind of the reality of being a human being. So we're back at our favorite trail, Fern Loop Trail, and we're almost back. So we're coming back out of Fern Loop Trail, and we're headed back to the main fire road area. So thanks guys for coming along with me on this great adventure through Foothills Park and the southern corner of it, and the southern branch of the Los Trancos Trail. And we're back at our famous main fire road, back into the parking area. So thanks again guys, appreciate it. Stay safe out there everybody, and enjoy the outdoors. So this is something I almost never do on my adventures, is the drive back out, and I really should. Little pond here, some deer crossing. I don't know if you can see her, but there she is. Some deer crossing, very awesome. Nice fishing too. So nobody's behind me right now, so. So what I'm doing is I've got my sunroof open and I'm holding my camera out, just filming the drive out. I hope the wind isn't too much for you up there. I'm not really looking at my camera right now, I'm focusing on the road, so I apologize if the image is off center, but oh well. kind of what you're seeing now. Pretty cool. And we are out of here. Thanks again, guys, for joining me on this great adventure through Foothills Park, Palo Alto, California.